Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. It's terrifying. So, when we get to speeches here in a moment, we do take volunteers. The way the B-point thing works is, if 2 kids volunteer, whoever has most points, you get to go to the front of the line. And so when we run out of volunteers, we then just get to go through and pick on the random people and stuff like that. We do have a quiz coming up on Friday where you get to work with partners and stuff like that. That's the one where I'm going to go through and read fables, and you have to figure out what kind of fable it is. But I wanted to wait till after Thursday, where I'm going to go through and read a whole bunch of fables to you to try and help you out. And then finally, your B points and grades are updated over here in case you did not know what your B points were for the volunteering or what your current grade is after last week's quiz. We should be good to go. Toby, I'm going to have you shut my door because we're going to cover some quiz things here in a moment. I don't want to bother those poor kids in the hallway. I sent this out on Remind. Probably doesn't impact you guys as much now, but again, anytime we have a different schedule, I send it on Remind in the morning. It's the same schedule we had during NWEA, where it's like little half-hour classes and stuff like that.
Why did we make the last class 28?
I don't know. I wondered that too. I'm assuming because of announcements or something. With the quiz from Friday, overall it wasn't bad. We finished with an average grade of an 81%, which was a B-, so overall I was happy. There's only a handful of questions I'm going to cover with you. If you were one of the kids who got a lower than C on it, a D or an F, then you're more than welcome to resubmit it, and you can get up to a C, because I'm going to cover some of the tough questions here to help you. Like the first one, where it said, what type of fable was it? Again, there's only 3 types of fables we covered, which were?
Traditional, modern, and verse.
For it to be a verse fable, how would you know that? Good job. So this one can't be a verse, there's no poem to it. So it has to be traditional or modern. How do you know if it's modern?
It has all this stuff.
Phones and stuff like that. Was there anything in here to make it today?
It was there was a gun. Traditional. I think I got a gun.
But they've had, I think it just says hunting actually. It doesn't even say gun.
I got that right.
But on that one.
Okay, who put the last one?
Yeah, I wondered that too.
That was
But the fact that the second most chosen option was moral was still what bothered me. I was like, I don't understand how people chose that one, but it was a number of people who did. So, my next one I thought was an easy question. This one was frustrating. Because it's, yeah, that's what I thought too. It says, looking at the tortoise and the hare fable from the handout. Here is where I could tell which kids did not look at the handout. Because if you looked at your handout, this is what you saw. What's written above it?
Verse fable.
So when it says, what type of fable is this? What would it be?
Verse. Yeah, I think I got that one wrong.
And yet, 1 out of every 5 kids put traditional because you just saw a tortoise and the hare and went, oh, I know this one, and just picked traditional without actually looking at the handout. So that one was a little frustrating. This one was also frustrating, mostly because of what the number 1 wrong answer was. The number 1 wrong answer is because it was one of the 5 main characteristics. The reason I find that frustrating is, in your notes, you wrote down the 5 characteristics. Moral, animals, short, humorous, all ages. None of those 5 say motif. The motif was just because it's really short. It was just the fact that so many kids ended up putting this. I was like, just look at your notes. It's literally in front of you. Then we got to another one which was straight from the notes. It says we talked about turtles being slow and rabbits being fast. Which of these does not work from your notes? One of them we didn't even talk about. Yeah, we talked about pigs, said that was messy. We talked about mice, said they're shy. Talked about goats, and said they eat a lot. Never talked about kangaroos. So kangaroos was your one that was the only one that did not match our notes. And then the last 2 were both grammar. On here, I know that you can Google answers, so I tried to make it where if you Google it, you have 2 options. Trains can be the things that go choo-choo-choo-choo on a track. or it can be when you practice something to get really good.
It's an act. It's a verb.
The evil teacher, Mr. Kyborg, trains bunny monsters to attack kids in his free time. It is not talking about a chugga chugga choo choo. So the answer would be
Verb.
a verb.
I think I
Because
got
it
that
can't be a noun.
Wait, I need to know my answers because I don't know what I got right now.
Then if you go to take a look at the last one, same thing again. Orange can either be the fruit or it can be the color of a basketball. And here it says bunny monsters hate carrots and no one really knows why these orange veggie sticks. Not talking about the fruit, talking about the color. Here's why I want to tell you about grammar. If you are still struggling with grammar, you are going to want to know a thing because I'm going to be emailing your parents. Below the weekly calendar on my Canvas page is a button that's been there all year that says, do you want grammar help? Click here. If you do, there is a video on there and I walk you through notes where I explain nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. And you get to use these notes on all of tests and quizzes. I'm not making you do it. I am emailing your parents and saying, if your kid doesn't know grammar and you want them to do better, this is a video they need to watch and to fill in these notes to use.
Okay, but then when I get home, they're going to be like, do you know your grammar?
I'm just letting you know now that I'm telling the big people to help you out. So hopefully that makes things easier. It even has a list of every preposition in alphabetical order to try and help you out.
Can you do that in like every other one?
There is a preposition song also.
No, I mean like
Nice.
verbs and nouns.
Now that we've finished the quizzy bits, let's talk about kids' tears. For our speech that we get to begin, here is how Speechy Thing is going to work. On this one, my goal for this speech is to get you practice standing up in front of the room and talking. So on this, you are speaking you are in front of the room for 45 seconds. I would like you talking for that whole 45 seconds, but if you don't, that's fine, as long as you are standing up in front of the room. We are going to be doing it on the little red chair that is over here. Home children, use your imagination.
I'm going to fall.
Well, don't fall.
Why do I just stand on? So what happens if I fall?
So you are going to be standing here on the chair. I'll just bring the chair over here so they can see it. Just imagine it's over there.
Don't fall.
Oh, that's good. Nice.
falls and like cracks their head?
Well, then they'll probably be dead and I'll have one less kid. So, that's how math works.
That got guard.
You will be standing up here on chair for Speechy Thing as you go through and give it. Your speech is going to be a story about anything you want. It can be about you, it can be about someone else, it can be made up, it can be true, whatever you want. It is just a story for 45 seconds. At some point, actually not at some point, before your speech, I am going to give you a secret word that only you and I know. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper and you get to look at it. You have to say this word at some point during your 45-second speech. All you have to do is say it one time. You can add endings, like if I give you the word jump, you can make it jumping, jumped, jumps, jumping rope, jumping room, whatever, as long as you use it at some point. Kids, I don't know, I just made that up. In the audience, who have a little green piece of paper, your goal is to figure out what word I gave them. If you can figure out the word, by the way, I'm not answering your question for like 10 more minutes. If you want to write it down, that's fine. Yeah, I know, it's like how time works. If you can figure out the word, you get B points. So, if Viv comes up to give speech, and I give her the word dinosaur, and you can figure out that her word is dinosaur, you get B points during speech. On there, during Speechy Thing, while you're up here, the two main areas that kids have complained about as far as cheating is going to be whispering your word and using your word in a list. So you cannot whisper it and you cannot use it in a list. So as an example, whispering. One day I was walking down the street and all of a sudden I turned around behind me and I saw a giant, and I was like, can you believe that thing was there?
You said dinosaur.
Right. If we can't hear the word, it's not going to count. So make sure you say it loud. The other one is putting your word into a list. The kids call it cheating, so I've had to just stop it. So again, if you say, I was walking down the street and I turned around and all of a sudden I saw a car, a fish, a jackal, a dinosaur, a shoe, a hare, and you just start saying, at some point you're going to use your word, doesn't work. I will stop you and go, hey, you used your word in a list, now you have to reuse it. Do not put your word into a list.
Okay, but aren't
The only speech rules I'm making you follow are these two right there. So you cannot have your hands in pockets during speech. So if hands go into pockets here, or if you're wearing a hoodie and hands go into pockets there, during speech, I will go, pockets! And make you pull your hands out of pockets. The reason being is that during a formal speech, you're not supposed to have hands in pockets. If you want to just put your hands out to the side and T-pose, or you can just sit there like this if you want to, or put your hands on your head, whatever you want, or you can be a hand talker. If you want to just put them like that and look all grumpy, I'm fine, as long as your hands are not in pockets. The other thing is, you cannot rock while you're up here. Whether it's a forward-backward thing, or whether it's a side-to-side thing. One, it's distracting when it looks like you're on an ocean, and you're just like, roar, roar, back and forth. And then two, you're up in the air. You could fall to your death unless you aim for Viv and hope she catches you. But there's every chance, and apparently she says she ain't catching no one, so there's a good chance you're bouncing off the ground. So, as soon as I see you start to rock back and forth or going to the side, I'm going to go, rocking! That does not mean for you to go, ha. It just means stop rocking back and forth.
Do we lose points? Yeah. Do we lose like half?
You are going to be on chair the entire 45 seconds. If you stop after 10 seconds, that's fine. It just means you awkwardly stand in front of us for 35 seconds. You cannot get done until the end of the 45 seconds, even if you don't talk. And some of you don't want to talk. You're going to talk for 5 seconds and then just awkwardly stare at us for the next 40. That's fine. My goal is for you to experience being up in front of the room and not dying. When you get done, we then write down what we think your word is. We're going to clap for you, do the Brovie clap. Hey, good job, you didn't die. 1, 2, 3, clap, 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 Brovie clap. The bottom part, this is for the audience. When people are giving speeches, don't talk during speech. When I talk, I forgive you. You're not going to freak me out. But some of the kids are really nervous being up there, and I don't want to make it any worse for them. And if you talk during their speech, it tends to throw people off. So don't talk while people are up there. The biggest issue is going to be two parts. One, the kids who end early, who get done and there's still like 20 to 30 seconds left of their speech, it gets real awkward when you're just staring at a kid for 20 seconds. And they're just staring back at you, and you just want to be like, it's okay. As soon as you talk, I charge you points. You just awkwardly stare at them. The other issue is going to be, some kids are going to give really weird speeches. And you're going to want to react to it because you're going to go like, what? Last year I had a kid who gave this speech. When I was in elementary school, my teacher had a fish tank in the room, and I thought it was neat, and every day I washed the fish. And one day, my friend told me that the bluefish was blueberry flavored, and I wanted to give it a try. So I reached in and pulled out the fish, and I ate it in the middle, and the class was like, wow! They all started freaking out. I don't blame them. Kid's a freak. But don't talk. You just have to sit there and go until they get done. As long as it's not too distracting, at some point I can forgive you laughing. You can't hold everything in when a kid just got done eating a blueberry flavored fish. So just try not to yell at them during speechy things. Then, for number 1 spot, write my name down. I am going to give example speech first. So I am the number 1 person. We are going to take volunteers for 2, 3, 4 in a moment. This is where pen comes in. So you're going to be writing down the kid who's giving speech. Then, for each one, you get to write down 1 guess for what you think their word was. You cannot write multiple words and be a cheater. You can't write down like 12 words and be like, I think I got this one. You get 1 word and that's it. And then the pen was just to cut down on the cheatery bits from kids in the past. Toby?
Are you going to have the names up on the board?
No, you're going to write them down. Tay?
So when you're up there, what if, so like you know the words, so what if you write your name down and you put your word, you get points?
Let me continue. So here's how the whole point thing is going to work. let's say Ella goes up and gives first speech, and no one figures out her word is dinosaur. And she finishes, and she's like, my word was dinosaur. The whole class is like, oh man, that's so good. Ella gets 3 B points for no one guessing her word. But if she gets done, and I go, hey, anyone guessing her word? And Presley goes, I had dinosaur. And Presley guesses it. Ella gets no points. And Presley gets 3 points instead. You get to steal that person's points by guessing it. But if both Presley and Jordan guess the word, now they both get 2 points. If it's between 4 and 6 of you, you only get 1 point. 7, 8, and 9, no one gets points on this one, and the speaker does not lose points.
Oh.
If 10 or more people guess your word, if Ella gets done, and she's like, my word was dinosaur, and half the class is like, yeah, no duh, and they all raise their hand, you lose points. So between 1 and 3, depending on how badly you do. If 15 people guess your word, that means one of 2 things happened. 1, you forgot to say your word, which happens a lot. Kids will spend 45 seconds up there, completely forget to say dinosaur, and in that case, you lose 3 points. Or you're the kid that just says the word over and over again. I saw a dinosaur. I like dinosaurs. Have you seen a dinosaur? I wish I had dinosaurs. Dinosaurs used to... And we're like, yeah, pretty sure the word's dinosaur. That's pretty much the only way you're going to lose 3 points if you do one of those 2 things. Other than that, you should be good.
I can't do your time, bro.
Getting ready to. Then, for speechy bits, I don't care if you talk between speeches, that's fine. To help you out, when you see this screen, this is the I'm going to charge you B points if you are talking screen. If someone's on the chair. If this screen is up and no one's on the chair, I don't care if you talk. If someone's on the chair and that screen is up, I don't care if you talk. But as soon as they're standing here and that's going, I charge you points. And remember, I hate children and I'm awful. So there's a good chance I'm going to leave it on the screen, wait for some kid to sit there and make annoying noises, and then all of a sudden go, ka-chunk, and then click it over and then charge you points. Because then I get to laugh at you and dance on your tears. Now, questions before we take our first volunteers. Jordan, never mind. AJ,
Oh wait, I want to be involved.
that's not, so no questions, we're good to go?
Yes.
All right. So home children, that's pretty much all you need to know. Don't die, come back to life.
Night.